Hello everyone, this is the Holy Fire Hangout, Reiki Basics with Will Mitchell. I'm a Reiki Master Teacher located in Rochester, New York, and I teach Usui Holy Fire Reiki. So today we're going to have mostly free-form questions and answers, and if we don't have, if the questions are sparse, then I'll go to a format. So today we have me, Will Mitchell, we have Safira, Sarah, Sabrina, and Harris. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Thank you for facilitating this and for having us listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Will.
You're welcome, everyone. So does anyone have any questions? Okay, so we'll talk about what is Reiki. So Reiki is a Japanese relaxation technique that promotes healing and wellness. Most of the time, the practitioner lays the hands on the client, and energy flows from an infinite source through the practitioner to the client. And one of my favorite sayings is Reiki goes where it needs to go and does what it needs to do. When I first learned Reiki, one of the first things we learn about is the Reiki Ideals. Mikao Usui, who rediscovered Reiki. He was a Tibetan monk, and when he was on Mount Kurama meditating for 21 days, and he came down from Mount Kurama with the knowledge of Reiki. He came up with the Reiki Ideals, which are the secret art of inviting happiness, the miraculous medicine of all diseases.
I believe Will froze.
Yes, I was just going to say, I thought it was me at first too, so he'll probably come back in if he can, if we want to just hang on for a minute and chat among ourselves.
Yeah, that was really nice. I love that idea, inviting happiness.
I know,
for healing.
As soon as he said that, I said, oh, inviting happiness. I said, oh, what a lovely thought, I hadn't really known that part of the history behind it.
Me either. That was new.
I know, that was interesting. I was like, oh, this is really cool. Well, hopefully he'll be able to come back in right away.
Yeah. Yeah, he should be able to.
I know, it's been a strange internet. I don't know, I've had problems for a little while myself lately, and I had to move. I dropped out again myself, so I had to move to another part of the house.
There's a lot of solar flare activity at this time.
I was wondering.
He's back.
Yeah,
He's back. Yay.
Welcome back, Will.
It's probably slowly but surely coming back in. I know that happens with me when it's slow. Nobody can hear me, even though I feel like I'm back in.
I guess not yet.
No. Oh, there's two of them.
Parallel reality.
There we go.
Yes, you're back.
My internet connection dropped for a second.
Yes,
Suddenly-
Yes, and you're still pixely a bit.
just a
There
bit.
you go.
I know the same thing happened to me a few minutes ago, so I understand.
That was very interesting. Just
We
when I
were
was talking.
I know, but we were very much enjoying the the history. It was very interesting. So yes, please carry on.
Yes, we were at the part of inviting happiness.
Yeah, so we were like all excited about that.
So where did I leave off?
That part.
So I said,
Right about the history of about what it means and about inviting happiness, and then it was just right after that.
gotcha.
Shortly after that.
So I'll repeat the Reiki Ideals. The secret art of inviting happiness, the miraculous medicine for all diseases.
Yes.
Just for today, do not anger. Do not worry and be filled with gratitude. Devote yourself to your work. Be kind to people. And he suggested every morning and every evening, join your hands in prayer and pray these words to your heart and chant these words with your mouth. So did everyone hear that this time?
Yes, that was beautiful.
Yes, we did.
And the Reiki Ideals are instrumental for me. They were instrumental for me when I took Reiki 1 and 2, and they're instrumental for me on a daily basis. Just setting your intentions every day to look at things in a positive light really, really helps. That there is the law of attraction working for you.
I put a question on the side, which was like, how long do you have Reiki once you've been attuned to Reiki?
You have Reiki, you never lose Reiki. So, and I don't agree with Sapphira's assertion that it can slow down if not practiced. It's always there. Whether you notice it or not is your ego. You have been, once you're attuned to Reiki, your body and your aura know the vibrations for each of the symbols that you're attuned to. And whether you are focusing on it or not, it goes where it needs to go and does what it needs to do. If you decide to send Reiki, those energies are activated through you. If you decide not to send Reiki, those energies are not activated through you.
So, Will, it was explained to me by the Reiki master we worked with that it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the more powerful it becomes. It's always there, but it's more or less powerful according to your use. That's probably why I said that. Would you not agree with that? If you're not using it?
I understand the viewpoint, and I'm of the opinion that your strength in Reiki, or Reiki strength through you, if you're a Reiki client, you're receiving Reiki, it doesn't matter who you're receiving Reiki from. It could be day one that they were attuned, or it could be they've been practicing Reiki for 50 years. It doesn't matter. Reiki's the same. It's going through the client. Their focusing on it isn't going to help or hurt Reiki. Okay?
Okay.
A Reiki master has more symbols, and a Karuna Reiki master has even more symbols. And if you use different types of Reiki, Dolphin Reiki, Rainbow Reiki, Celtic Reiki, whatever kinds of Reiki are out there, you have different symbols and different frequencies that will work through the Reiki practitioner. What I believe your Reiki master was trying to say is that your belief in your Reiki ability can diminish over time by not using it. Your confidence in your Reiki can diminish over time by not using it. Yes, the more you use it, the more confident you are in what to do, where to place your hands, how to treat a client. I'm of the belief that it doesn't matter. That
Okay.
once you intend to send Reiki, you are sending Reiki, and it's going through you, and you're not the one who's actually sending the Reiki. Is that your guides and the universe are the ones that are actually providing the Reiki through you,
Okay.
which is why you don't need a skill set. You need to be attuned, and that's about it.
What exactly does the attunement do?
So before I answer that question, let's go about more back to what is Reiki and some of the symbols. So each of the symbols, so Reiki is energy. The whole universe, all existence, can be broken down to energy. And Einstein's theory of relativity, proved that. E equals mc squared is one good example that you can view everything as energy. Just like we have a visible spectrum, and red is a certain frequency of light, Reiki has a frequency or a range of vibration. During the attunement process, you get attuned to those frequencies, so you know how to call on those frequencies. And those frequencies are installed, or you're attuned to those frequencies during the attunement process. Everyone has the ability today to perform Reiki or do energy work. The frequencies of Reiki, so my analogy is, let's try to, have you ever operated a ham radio? Have you ever tried to find a certain station or a certain caller and you don't know how to tune into it? So you're scanning the dial and you're trying this frequency, then you try that frequency, then you try this frequency. The attunement process is a transference of knowledge from the master to the student, where these are the frequencies that we're using. And with the Holy Fire is taking care of attuning the frequencies. So the master is not really involved anymore. So it is possible for people to learn Reiki without being attuned, but the attunement process, it blows the leaves out of the gutters, and you know exactly what the frequencies are, and it's from Reiki 1 and 2, it's a confidence level that you get by practicing.
I have a question, may I?
Yes, please.
What if you're experiencing just raw energy coming out of your hands and your feet? And some people say that's energy for Reiki, but you've never taken anything with Reiki, or you're just experiencing fourth
Sorry.
dimensional type.
So it's very
Hi, Rowie.
Oh,
You're just experiencing fourth dimensional type energies. It's just coming out your hands very powerfully. What?
Right.
So it's not a confidence issue for me because I know it's there.
Right.
What do I do then?
So everyone has a natural ability to heal or to send energy through the chakras in their hands and in their feet. What those energies are, who knows? But what you intend them to be is more important. If you intend healing to come out of your hands, healing will come out of your hands. If you intend Reiki to come out of your hands, then Reiki will come out of your hands. If you intend whatever the client needs to come out of your hands, then whatever the client needs will come out of your hands. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. But is it better to have an attunement process, or it's already done and you can just do it with intention?
I believe that taking a class and getting an attunement will help you understand what Reiki is and when you're giving Reiki and when you're giving other modalities. I'm not saying that the other modalities are good or bad. I know what Reiki is. I know how it feels when I'm giving Reiki, but that's only because I've had years of experience doing it. And I trust Reiki. I trust that when Reiki comes through me, that the client's highest needs are served. And that's one of the things I do before giving a Reiki treatment is I ask to have my personality and my ego set aside, and I ask for the highest good of the client be the outcome. And I don't try to figure out what the highest good is going to be, because Reiki knows what the highest good for the client is. And if I think I know, that's just my ego get in the way. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And after Reiki 1 and 2, to me it was a learning process of using Reiki and what I can use Reiki for, and experimenting, and then keep going and keep going. By the time I took my master class, I knew I was a Reiki master. I knew that I was going to get another symbol, and I knew I was going to learn how to attune people, and those other energies were going to enhance my knowledge. And not saying that I knew everything about Reiki, I still don't know everything about Reiki. To me, Reiki is a learning process. Reiki is, it's a mentality at this point for me. Yes, Safira?
Yes, when I first had the Reiki initiation, I was very precognitive for a short time. I even saw 9/11, and my Reiki initiation was 2000, I think 2001, so 10 years earlier. And I had another more immediate precognitive experience where when I was sleeping, I saw a big earthquake in India. I saw the news reports, and I woke up and it was happening. But then it stopped, and I wasn't afraid of it or anything. I don't know why it just stopped. I mean, I'm not saying you know why. I'm just saying, I'm just wondering, myself, why that like opened up and then it stopped. Maybe I thought I wasn't practicing it right away enough, or I had my kids were small at the time, so I don't know. It's just a comment, or maybe
Right.
I wish it hadn't stopped. In other words, yeah.
To me, Reiki and precognition, or many times they go hand in hand, but Reiki is about the client. So if you get many benefits from it, I mean, as a practitioner, I get many, many, many benefits from giving Reiki to a client. And it's an honor and a privilege for everything that I get out of giving a treatment,
Mm-hmm.
no matter whether the person's right in front of me or across the globe. And for each person, it's different. And how one's giving treatments it's beyond Reiki basics. But
Mm-hmm.
you can use Reiki for anything
Yeah.
and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I use Reiki every time I get in a car. And I just say, get me to my destination, and I trust Reiki, and I don't worry about getting directions. I don't worry about getting lost, because if I took a wrong turn, well, Spirit wanted me to go that way, and 9 times out of 10, I understand why I'm going in that direction once I get there. I add Reiki to my food before eating, and I give gratitude to everybody and anybody who participated in this meal being in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily Reiki. I mean, it is, but it isn't. You don't necessarily learn that in a Reiki 1 or Reiki 2 class.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to use Reiki to do anything.
No wonder your barbecues are such a hit then. Well, I've got a question if Sophia is finished.
Yes, thank you, Rory. Yeah.
You talked about the symbols of Reiki. I joined a little late. I'm not sure if you've gone over that already, but could you just give us a brief understanding what you mean by the symbols?
Okay, so in Reiki, in all the classes, there are certain symbols that have meaning behind them. And the symbols are just keys to the energies, keys to the intent behind the energies. So you'll learn the symbol names in the Reiki classes. In Reiki 1, you get attuned, and the energies are more enhanced in your palm chakras. And you learn about the history of Reiki, you learn about what Reiki is, you get to give a treatment, you get an attunement, there are meditations that happen. And in Reiki 2, you learn 3 symbols. You learn the power symbol, which focuses the power of the universe on one single point. You get the mental emotional symbol, or the harmony symbol, which, if you're called on to use that symbol, it helps establish mental and emotional harmony in a client. And you learn the time and distance symbol, so you can send Reiki over vast distances and over time. And I have used it to send healing back to myself back in time, previous lifetimes. I send it.
Oh wow!
I send it to people all over the world. In the Hucolo seminar webinars, I'm constantly sending Reiki to people, and I get tapped on the shoulder to send it to somebody. It's just like, okay, I ask their higher self permission and send Reiki. So time and distance are no bridge or no barrier for Reiki. When you take advanced Reiki techniques, besides all the advanced Reiki techniques that you learn, there's the Usui master symbol that you learn, which enhances all the other symbols. And once you become a master, if you take Usui Tibetan master, then you'll get 2 more symbols that are useful in attunements. And so you'll get the Usui Tibetan symbol, master symbol, or the Tibetan master symbol, and you'll get the Tibetan fire serpent symbol. And those symbols are helpful in attunements and during treatments. And when you become a Holy Fire Master, you get the Holy Fire symbol. And that, I mean, obviously it's my main promotion. It's anything I thought there was a limitation on any of the other symbols, it's just blown away. Any limitations I had before are gone now with the Holy Fire.
So when using one of these symbols, you would just mentally picture the symbol in your mind's eye, or?
Well, in a Reiki class, we teach you to say the name of the symbol, draw the symbol with your hands, and and you do hand movements to verify with the universe that this is exactly what you intend to do.
Right, okay. Yeah.
And that helps you tap into the energy and that the energies flow. And that helps so that you are communicating effectively with your guides and that the universe knows that that's the energies that you wish to send through you.
Yeah, I guess because you got to, sometimes you do have to define what you want to heal, because there's no point wasting energy on giving someone energy if they're already full of something else. Let's say emotionally they're well balanced, they just need medical or help, so you just give them a certain symbol and then that energy, yeah.
Yes, well, in a Reiki 1 class, you will learn how to do voice and scanning. So after you're attuned, you will run your hand over the client on the various places that you'll learn the hand positions, and you'll learn to scan the client's body, and you will feel differences. On day 1, I teach that you'll stop for some unknown reason. You don't know why, but sometimes you feel it, sometimes you just have an inkling that you want to stop. You're trusting your intuition. Reiki 1 and 2 is all about trusting your intuition and learning how to do the different techniques, the scanning of the body. And once you scan the body and you understand where there are what we call blockages or differences in energy is what you're feeling for, and you put your hand over it, and then when you go through a normal treatment, you put your hand in all the various positions. And we start a treatment with a symbol, and we end the treatment with the same symbol. And if you're called on to use any of the other symbols, then you use those symbols. You don't necessarily have to have a questionnaire to say, what is your issue? You don't have to share those things. The client doesn't have to share those. They can come down and just put your hands on it, and Reiki goes where it needs to go and does what it needs to do.
I have an ex-partner in Germany, and she studied Jinshin Jitsu, which is a form of acupressure. And literally, she could diagnose people just by just feeling their energy. And
Right.
90% of the time it was banging. And it was quite amazing to see. I wasn't, when I first found out about it, I didn't really believe it. I hurt my hand one day playing cricket.
Yes.
I really hurt my hand bad. And she did some work on me with her healing technique. And I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, I wasn't a believer, but it did work. So then I was a believer of it, I guess. So everything she did afterwards was just like, wow. You know, if you can stop pain like that and discomfort and
Right. So I'm going to tell you this story. A week ago, I went to a group workout, and I saw a friend that I haven't seen in a long time. And he told me a story that he's going through a bitter divorce. And he was so angry. And after 10 minutes of him talking to me, I tried using logic. I tried saying, you're contributing to the problem. I tried using all these different techniques. And all of a sudden he says, Will, I have this. The anger is so blocked up in my heart that I just don't want it there anymore. I just don't want it there. And at that point, may I give you Reiki? He goes, what is this Reiki? I said, well, Reiki goes where it needs to go and does what it needs to do. All I'm going to do is put my hand on your heart, and we can continue talking. We don't need to do anything. And he says, reluctantly, he goes, okay. So I put my hand on his heart, and 30 seconds later, he goes, well, what is this Reiki and what's it doing to me? So I go, Reiki goes where it needs to go and does what it needs to do. So why do you ask? What's it doing to you? And he says, well, because I'm not angry anymore. I don't understand it. It's just like it just was all taken from me. 2 days later, he texts me and he says, I believe. And then I call him on the phone and he goes, well, what happened Tuesday night is that I went home. He was actually living in the same house with his ex-wife that he was using all these different swear words about. And
Right.
he said, I went home. We hammered out all our differences and we're signing the divorce papers. And he says, that's never happened before. And every time that she thought I was going to get in a fight, I said, no, I'm not angry anymore. It's just, believe it or not, a Reiki master put his hand on my heart and I'm good. And I'm still, I just told him, welcome to my world. It was amazing, and I love telling that story. I've got a million Reiki stories, and anybody who is a practitioner or a Reiki master, everybody has a million stories. It's amazing.
So what do you feel then when you detect the energy? What is it that you feel? Do you feel a heat? Because I'm trying to link this up to an experience I've had as well.
Right. So once I call on Reiki and I call on the symbols and I intend to give Reiki to a client, I no longer think. I will experience things, but I try not to tie my experience with what's happening in the client. That's my ego getting in the way. I enjoy the experience. Sometimes I get messages from my guides that you need to move your hands here, or I get other messages about the client.
So it's very similar to a channeled state then. Channeling type
That's
state.
what I believe it is.
Yeah.
I mean, well, we are channeling Reiki, and anytime you intend to send energy, you're channeling. Okay, if you're laughing at somebody, you're channeling humor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my experience with what I feel in my hands when I'm giving Reiki, it could be anything. It could be heat, it could be tingling sensation, it could be cold. One time when I was giving Reiki to a person, I was at their ankles. They said that my hands felt like they were fire, they were that hot. I moved my hands up to the person's knees. They said it felt like they were ice bags, and they were like 1 second difference in me moving my hands. And so each client is going to feel Reiki differently. And so as long as you don't put any judgment on it, then you're like, okay, that's what you felt.
So you also get a client feedback as well as your own things. And
at times, if they wish to share, a lot of people want to talk about their experience afterwards. To me, as long as they feel satisfied and they're going to either they come back, as long as they're satisfied, that's really what I care about.
Yeah, I keep getting nudges about healing, Will. I really do, and it's I even get led to people who are hurt or in some sort of like predicament, like when I was on board the ship recently. This girl had broken her leg up in the play area, up on top deck, and I just got drawn to that place. And I started just putting my hands over her.
Nice.
While I held her leg up for a bit, and then once her leg was held, I just stayed with her because she needed someone to stay with her. I just started putting my hands over her, and I don't know what I was doing. And then at Stonehenge, I had an experience where someone was passed out, and the medical team was there, and obviously his ambulance and everything. And I just started putting my hands out, and I could feel this burning as I was connecting with this being. who was on the floor, and I was just sending him as much sort of love and and as everything I could, and it was really weird. I could feel it shifting and moving as well. So I was twisting my hand, not, and it was burning. It was really strange, and I felt a deep connection with him, and he ended up getting stretchered off. But I didn't want to go over and do too much because there was already a couple of like very magical people around him, all helping him as well. So
Right.
I thought about about 10 meters from him. But it's just very, very strange that I'm getting all these little nudges. So I want to learn more. So thank you, Will, for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Maybe a class would be perfect for you.
I think so. Yeah.
Roy, when I see you, when you last talked about healing, I saw you walking. And when you walk, you have such a connection to Mother Earth that it's like when you walk, the grass is growing and more so around every step that you take. I mean, I just see it just like growing up twice as big around each step instantly.
That's a beautiful thing to say. Thank you. And to see in someone. I'd love to be able to see that in somebody else. That's living a life like that. It's just like, I live in this world and I see these things and that's amazing.
It's so funny because I get flashes of myself doing the same.
Oh, really? Oh my God. I'm
Yeah.
jealous.
Okay,
So
so
interesting you mentioned that.
So I got some questions back in the chat that I'd like to answer. Is that someone asked about if I could give a symbol, and I would suggest that you take a Reiki class and you'll get symbols and you'll get training on how to use the symbols. You'll get attuned to the symbols and you'll get proper training. Not saying that you won't use them correctly, but to me, I would rather promote the class at that point. So someone else asked, is there a Reiki symbol that will encompass all of the symbols? So Sarah, you asked that question, and yes and no. I have the Asui Master symbol, I have the Holy Fire symbol, and those can, obviously the Holy Fire symbol encompasses all the other ones, but I still use the other ones. I'm still guided to use all the other symbols as well. So I view the Holy Fire as unlimited, and as long as I don't limit it, it won't be limited. But I use the other symbols. I love the other symbols. They're living, breathing beings to me. So to me, I'm going to continue using all the symbols. I use the symbols that I'm called on to use.
Will, I have a question. If I'm not getting along with somebody who isn't near me and I want to send Reiki to that situation, do I need a symbol for that, or can I just think it to them?
Well, I believe you're a Reiki 2. Yes, Safira?
Reiki 1.
Reiki 1. Okay, did you receive any symbols in Reiki 1?
I received symbols for another form of healing, but not for Reiki.
Gotcha. So I would suggest, well, there is a symbol for that, and you learn that symbol in a Reiki 2 class.
Okay.
And you'll get attuned to the symbol, and you'll get training on it, you'll get practice on it, and then with further use, you'll start learning. You'll form an intimate relationship with each symbol, which is really a consciousness.
Okay. Thank you. I'd also asked previously in chat who first discovered the holy fire, but that's when you're ready to get to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think there was one more question I wanted to. So Sarah asked, when you feel the blockage in a client's body, do you feel it in yours as well? So it depends on the practitioner. Some practitioners just know that there's a blockage. Some practitioners feel a difference and they just know that they need to send a Reiki there, whether they classify it as a blockage or not. Some practitioners see it as a blockage and know to give Reiki. Some practitioners feel the blockage in their own body and what's going on in the client's body. And it doesn't matter. They're all good. And even if you're just putting your hands in the hand positions and calling on the symbols and not knowing what's happening in your client, doesn't matter, because Reiki goes where it needs to go and does what it needs to do. You having to know is only your ego.
Well, one thing I had heard about Reiki from people who were spiritually open and saw the stream going in of Reiki is that they said it's a two-way stream. In other words, somebody who's giving Reiki can also get energy back from the person, so they need to protect themselves when they're giving it. Have you experienced that or heard about that?
Yes. And the way I teach it is that when you're giving Reiki to a client, there is an exchange of energies. There's a give and take, and the Reiki that's coming through you from the infinite source through to the client, you're getting a benefit of that Reiki as well. And there's an energy exchange with the client. We also teach how to disconnect, how to seal the treatment, and how to dry bathe. Kenyoku is a technique to ensure that their energy is not attached to you and that you return it to the light.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
So learning how to do all these things happens in a class, and you get much practice doing it. And if you forget to do a step, your master teacher will definitely notice it and give you pointers.
Well,
did that answer your question,
I've got a
Sophia?
question.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Will, very much.
Yes, Noha? Welcome.
Yeah, hello, Will. How are you?
Awesome.
I've got a question regarding the holy fire.
Yes.
So far, I've been watching the previous episodes that you got, and I was going through the meditation, and I was going along with the forest and the river, and everything is fine. But towards the end, I couldn't get to the fire. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So I thought you're gonna give us a guided meditation. I was willing for that, and every time I was jumping back to the river, and I used to get back to the river, but towards the end, I'm not getting to the fire. So
okay. Yes.
Explain about this?
It was my plan to do a short holy fire meditation experience, and we'll do the Holy Love 1 experience. So it'll be the same visualization as before. And if you listen to the visualization, watching, you have more power when you're watching it online afterwards, because then you can click back and say, okay, all right, I see the bend in the river. I see the gleaming light off the water. Okay, and it's no ordinary light. It's from the third heaven, and allow it to enter your soul and allow it to guide you. it's just a visualization. And the light.
Yeah, I got all that
Yes.
part. I got the shiny part. I got the glittering water, and I got all that stuff. The fire
Right.
part is not there. You know what I mean?
Well, trust me, it worked. Whether you got a real, what you call a real experience, is your perception. It worked with you the way that you needed and that you allowed to happen. We can do another. We are going to do another meditation experience, but don't worry if you don't feel that it was profound. If you don't feel that it took you over, you can always go back and say, okay, well, I'm going to picture myself at the bend in the river. I'm going to see the light reflecting off the surface of the water. I'm going to allow it to enter my soul. I'm going to allow it to guide me. And then don't worry. If you've meditated before, just sit and sit in the bliss. And if you have to go through the visualization again, there are many times that I have dropped out of meditation and I'm going, wow, okay, well, I'm now sitting next to the river. I see the light and I'm trying to let it enter my soul. And there's times that I'm just sitting there with the light shining in my face. And there's other times that I actually do feel it just, okay, it has now taken me and it's taken me away. And I realize that I'm the one that's stopping it when I just feel like a light is shining in my face.
Just give it a go over and over till it gets to you and it's being taken by you. This is what you mean.
Right.
Because the visualization part is very clear with me. I'm very on the spot with that part. But
Okay.
towards the end, the click. That click is missing, towards the end. So I'll give it a go over and over.
So there are other meditations that I've done where the mantra was the focus. There may have been a visualization at the beginning, but there was a mantra. So I'm saying the mantra to myself, and I'm concentrating on my breathing. And if any thoughts come into my head, like what am I going to do when I get out of work? What do I got to pick up at the grocery store? When those types of thoughts arrive, I was taught to acknowledge them and let them go away by simply returning to the mantra. And so if the mantra is Om, then it's just Om. If it's Hari Om Tat Sat, then I return to that. If it's any other mantra, like I am, you just return to the mantra, and sooner or later you get into your bliss. And once you worry about it, that's getting in your own way. And that's another one of those thoughts that come in from the outside that can go away when you return to the mantra. So this mantra for the holy fire is whatever the visualization is. And there are times that I have to walk out of the forest again and walk along the path and see the bend in the river. And I have to go through the entire meditation, the visualization, to actually get taken by the light again. Does that answer your question, Noha?
Yeah, of course. I just
Excellent.
keep on going. I'll be going and doing it over and over until I get to the spot. Because I want to be taken by that. Because I've been into meditation. I'm done Reiki. So I know all this stuff. But this part
Excellent.
is I want you to click with me. So I'm pushing it, I suppose. It's okay. Anyways, thanks, Will.
You're welcome. Are there other questions? Okay. So we've talked about Reiki levels. We'll talk about choosing a teacher if those are the things that you want to talk about. So I think we should dive into a holy fire meditation experience. Okay. So we did have a question as to how did the holy fire come about? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the holy fire is relatively new. And you can, if you want to read the write-up on it, so you can go to reiki.org, and one of the questions, there's a link on the main page, is the holy fire and what is the holy fire and the birth of the holy fire. So you can read all about it. Basically, William Lee Rand was speaking with his spiritual advisor, who at the time, in January 2014, Jesus was channeled by his spiritual advisor. And Jesus told him that there's an evolution in Reiki, and you're to bring the holy fire to Reiki. And worked it out exactly what is, or how it's going to change Reiki and how we're going to teach Reiki with the holy fire. And the holy fire is a higher level of consciousness. It's an evolution in Reiki, and it's both powerful and gentle, as well as provides purification, healing, empowerment, and guidance. The holy fire is noticeably more refined and comes from a higher level of consciousness. And it is limitless. And if you go to reiki.org, you can, since it's new, Reiki masters are chiming in about what is their experience with using the holy fire and what their students are saying. And I don't want to define what the holy fire is. I want to bring it to you so that you can have an experience, so that you can find out for yourself what the holy fire is. And the holy fire might be different for you than it is for me. And that's totally okay. There is no right or wrong with the holy fire. So with the holy fire, we teach a concept of the three heavens. So the first heaven is our three-dimensional universe. It's the people, it's Mother Earth, it's the planets, it's the stars, it's the air we breathe. The second heaven is everything that's non-physical, and it's dualistic, and it's ego-based. There are many entities that are non-physical that, no matter how good they are, because they're ego-based, they're coming from the second heaven. Not saying that the second heaven is bad, just as long as we know that when you're coming from the second heaven, you're ego-based. And no matter how good you are, there's still an agenda that comes from ego. So the third heaven is beyond ego. And with that, with no ego, there's clear expressions of God's unlimited love, awareness, and power. And it always respects free will. Always. During one of the holy fire meditation experiences, somebody decided that, oh, I don't know what this holy fire is, so I'm kind of skeptical with this experience. So during their meditation, they only felt a warm, loving presence around them. They didn't get taken away by the white light. They didn't get taken away by the holy fire. And that was the experience that they had. And then when they talked about it afterwards, it was, of course, that's exactly what you had, because that was your intention that you set out at the beginning. I'm skeptical about it, and this is the only thing I'm going to allow. So the Holy Fire respected that individual's free will. That's all they wanted to experience, so that's what the Holy Fire gave them.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
I wanted to know about the differences between the different classes. It seems that they have different names. I just went back and found mine.
Okay.
So I don't know if you can expand a little bit about that. Like mine is Shoden, Shoden.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about that?
So we have Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki, according to the International Center for Reiki Training, they teach Reiki 3A, which is Advanced Reiki Techniques, and Reiki 3B, which is Reiki Master Teacher. So according to Mikao Usui, he gave a Japanese name for level 1, another Japanese name for level 2, and another Japanese name for level 3. And to me, what really matters is, are you a Reiki 1? You don't need to know all the Japanese terms for them if you don't want to. If you want to learn the Japanese terms, awesome. If you want to learn how to say the Reiki Ideals in Japanese, it's available. If you want to learn how to sing the song, it's available. The most important thing with Reiki is your intent. Did you take the class? Were you attuned? Are you using the symbols? Are you setting your intention when you're giving a treatment? Those are the important things. When you feel you're ready to become a master, you sign up for a master class and you get more symbols and you get more skills. And then it's up to you to, once you reach the master level, it's your job, or it's your opportunity to thoroughly investigate what each of the symbols are and what the energies mean and what you can do with Reiki. And all the things that you can do. There's unlimited things that you can do with Reiki. I can talk for days and days and days on what I've used Reiki for. So I suggest we do a visualization and a Holy Fire meditation experience, and then we can have more questions afterwards. Okay? So if everyone would, thanks, everyone's muted already. Excellent. So I will mute myself after I finish the visualization, and then I'll bring you back in about 10 minutes, so about 8:20, I'll bring you back. So everyone make yourself comfortable. Clear your mind, set yourself at ease. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, relaxing. Breathe out, releasing. Breathe in, relaxing. Breathe out, releasing. Breathe in, relaxing. Breathe out, releasing. Imagine yourself in a forest. The colors are vivid. The smells are lush. There's vegetation on the ground. It's just a marvelous place. You see a path leading out of the forest. You follow this path. As you walk along the path, you see a river up ahead. You walk towards the river. You see a bend in the river. You just see the sun shining off the surface of the water. This light is no ordinary light. This light comes from the third heaven. Allow this light to enter your soul. Allow this light to guide you. When you're ready, slowly come back. Take as much time as you need. Slowly start moving. Reestablishing yourself in the here and now. Open your eyes when you're ready. Stretch your fingers and toes. Roll your shoulders. Whatever you need. When you're ready, get out a notebook, write about your experiences, or break out with Notepad or your email. Write it down so that you don't forget it. All of your experiences are valid. Everyone's very probably different. I've never had the same meditation more than once. There were always some differences. So I'm going to mute and write a little couple of notes because I got some interesting information. If anyone wants to share, or if anyone's ready, just unmute and
I
start to
just
talk.
want to.
Lead
I
one at a
just want to
time.
say thank you, Will.
You're so welcome, Sarah.
That was an experience.
Care to share?
Well, I was trying to hear you better, so I kind of got out of the meditation at the beginning to turn you up.
Okay.
And so I got to the water part, and the light was shining, and you said light from the third heaven, and I imagined the colors of the crown chakra. It was silver and purple and all these different colors in there. And then all of a sudden I get shoot off into space somewhere. And my mind gets to like I'm thinking about the dark planet or star in Sirius, and I go to a planet and the light is kind of grayish looking, and I see this whole city down, and I'm flying everywhere in this ball of light. It's like it's just surrounding me, and I'm zigzagging here and there, and then I go to the streets, and the people on the streets are looking like, what is that? And I'm zigzagging in between the streets, and I get to this castle, and then I get to the doors of the castle, the doors open, and everything's green. It's like jade, green, everywhere. And then the walls, that is, the walls and the ground was, the floor was gray, like a marble or so. Like the walls were filled with jade. And then I went to this big room. It looks a bit like a cathedral with the big windows and all. And at first no one was there, and I said, "Where is everybody?" And then as I'm continuing to flicker in and out here, all of a sudden all these people show up, and they're different beings. They're different species, actually. Quite interesting. Then you said come back, and I had a hard time coming back, and I'm like waving at them, I'm like, hi.
You can repeat the meditation all that you want, and it's only for time's sake because there's still some more topics we need to cover.
But that was the end of it. I said, I'll come back some other time.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to share?
I'll share.
Awesome.
So yeah, I went and followed your instructions, and when I went to the forest, I started running instead of walking because I was actually a elven person when I looked at myself in the actual water, and then I saw like a white light, and that must have been the white light from the third heaven. It went around on my head, just like going around it, kind of like a mini halo for a few seconds. Then it instantly transported me to it's a place in Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits called the Shire. The Shire, can't really pronounce it probably, but it's in Middle Earth, and I was actually a Hobbit, and I was like, yay, I'm so happy, this is home, I want to stay. And then the white light came and said, are you sure you want to stay? And I was like, I don't know why I said this, I said, I have a love for all beings, I cannot stay. And then I left, and then came back.
Awesome. Totally awesome. I love how that you saw your reflection in the water and saw that you were elfkin. That was amazing. I totally see that in you. Does anyone else wish to share?
I would share if nobody else wants to go before me.
Well, you're up then.
Okay. So when I went around the bend to the river, there was a boat, like a canoe, with my name on it, and I got in it, and there were other boats with other people's names, and everybody got in it. And as we were going down the river, there was this light you spoke of sort of shining on us and filling us up. But we had a few tasks to do along the way. There were 3 different villages we needed to stop in and do healing. And the first village, the people were muddy and sick, and so we washed them and we did healing. It was me and 2 other people on the river. And that was for a few days. And then the next one was more relaxation and just kind of like a respite village, kind of to rejuvenate. And then the next village was ancestors who needed healing as well. So I was there this time alone with 2 angels or 2 guides to do the healing with them and spend time talking and helping them forgive and helping them sort of go up to another level in their spiritual growth in the spirit world. And then after that, I was back. Every time I went back to the boat and was sliding down the river, this canoe was like really comfortable, and I got all that light. It was very nice. And then the next village was a village in Africa where we were really releasing the pain of hunger and just all the different. We just did different healing until that village was also more filled with light and joy. And then in between, and then after that, I was able to go to one of the colonies, the relaxation colony, to just rejuvenate and just have a nice time. And as I left, I was asking which of the energy gifts or abilities should I focus on. And because I do the emotion code and Reiki and white time universal healing, so then I was shown that I can combine all three of them. When I do the emotion code, bring in Reiki, which in my understanding is the all universal life energy on the earth. White time universal healing is more ET and high master healing. It's more vertical if one wants to use words to describe it like that. And then to bring those two in so that it's like it meets in the middle, and then bring that into the emotion code work where people actually need to recognize what needs to be released and then kind of fill it up with that energy. So that's what I was shown at the end. The thing is, it was a nice visual. It was a very nice visual experience. However, I didn't feel it. I just saw it. It wasn't an emotional experience. It was just a visual. So I don't know. Am I still too much in my head, or what? I want to feel it, but I don't. You know what I mean?
Well, I suggest that it's your expectations that you're supposed to feel something.
Well,
It's
it
an
was only.
experience.
Yeah, it was at the end. At the end, when it was all done, it was very nice, and I thought, okay, that was interesting, but I didn't feel anything. And yes, I know you said don't put any judgments on it as to what it should or shouldn't be, and maybe we'll experience the heart of it later. But it was full of heart, and it was full of love, and it was full of healing, and it was full of light, and it was really nice. And perhaps I will. Feel the impact of it later.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Beautiful. It was awesome. Thank you.
Does anyone else would like to go?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, Robbie.
I will. So I had an intention of play before I went into the forest. So with that intention, is my mic okay?
Yes, I just raised your volume a little bit
Okay.
for me.
So this time when I felt the light, it started surrounding me. I linked in with my heart chakra to the light and made a connection with it. The light started filling up in my universe, and it almost felt like I was swimming in the light. So as I swam, kind of felt like a turtle, which was an interesting feeling. Feel like another animal, another mammal. And also because turtle was a very significant thing to my partner. So that was really strange. And then I saw other beings in this, like, almost like this ocean of light. And they were like, I guess like a dragon type of being. Like a dragon type of being. But I didn't interact with the beings. I returned back to the forest. And then as I'm back again at the river, this time the light from the holy fire is coming into my hands. And I start forming the light, like making a ball, like reflecting off my hands and like creating a bigger ball. Like I'm birthing a being or something. I don't know. It's really weird. And I'm actually doing this physically as well with my hand.
Yes.
And I end up releasing the ball of light. And then, so I made a ball, and then it was like, I took more light into my hands again. And then I started making other shapes. And I realized I was doing platonic solids. So I was doing the pyramid with the triangles. And it's funny, I was like doing all these like karate chops. It was so funny, I saw my video of me. So I was making different shapes. And I think I got to about the pentagon by the time and I actually filled all the time this time. You know, it wasn't, last time it was really quick, you know, and like so super quick. This time it seemed to slow down. So thank you for that, Will.
Oh, you're welcome. That was amazing. I love hearing everyone's experiences.
Sabrina wanted to thank you as well. She had to go, but she sent me a text. She said, please thank you for her.
You're welcome, Sabrina. Harris, do you want to share?
Yeah, wow, that was a beautiful experience, and I'm just loving everyone's different perspectives and everyone's different, and it's just enjoyable because mine is like I pictured myself in the forest, and then got the water, and then seeing the horizons, and then seeing the light, and then I just moved into the light straight away, and then I'm feeling the light, and I'm feeling the light all around me, actually sensing it in front of me, then all around me, and then it's now moving into my heart for me to kind of feel that joy. Then it got my body actually relaxing, as in finding the most comfort place. Every part of my body was just settling in, and then I would have some thoughts coming in. I would kind of stray my head away, and then I would say, okay, then put the light there, and then get back in because it was so comfortable, feeling the light with the heart. So that was it for me, basically, just staying in the light and sending it out, I think.
It's beautiful.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
My pleasure. Arlo, do you care to share? Is your mic working yet? Okay. So now I'd like to talk about
Will, before you talk about anything else, could you share your experience with us? You said you had some interesting things.
yes. So my job as facilitator takes on a different role. So after I was done doing my job, then I allowed the white light to enter me and take me away. At the beginning, my ego was very involved, and after 2-3 minutes, then I set my ego aside, and then I had my real experience. So at that point, I sat with Source. I let the white light consume me and fill me up completely, and I felt unity with Source, and I started expressing gratitude. Gratitude to Source for everything I was experiencing. I felt genuine gratitude for all the bad that I've had in my life as a learning experience, all the good that I've had in my life as a learning experience. And I felt truly blessed to share my vibration with all that is, because I thoroughly believe in the law of attraction, and that what I give out to the universe is what I get back. I felt the giving out to the universe, and that the universe was actually benefiting from it. And to me, it was a great blessing to experience that, and that people can learn from what I've done, and maybe I'll make a connection to somebody because I've experienced those bad things, even though I want to say I don't want to experience those bad things. There's, everyone does things that we consider right and wrong, and when we do things that are wrong, we don't want to admit it, but those things came as learning experiences in that, and I felt forgiveness. I felt it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Hey, Roxy.
Hi, Roxy. Long time no see.
Hi guys, I've been watching, but I had some people around the house, so I couldn't really chime in. So I've been watching on and off for about the last hour. So hi.
Hi,
So
Roxy.
now that
Nice.
everything's clear, I just want to pop in and say hello.
It's good
Awesome.
to see you again.
Hello.
Hi Harris, how are you,
Hey,
baby?
Doing great. Hey, Roxy.
Awesome. Ah, good stuff. Thank you. I just want to pop in and say thank you. That was awesome.
did you do the meditation?
Yes, well, okay, as much as I could, about 90%, but there was a couple interruptions that I had to handle.
Well, you can watch it again online, and
Yes,
you can do
yes.
the meditation as many times as you wish. And
Beautiful.
each time you'll have a different experience.
Most certainly.
So that's awesome. Thanks for joining.
And thank you for having me. Oh, yeah.
Booyah. I love you, Roxy.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a goofball, but you know, it's my edge. I love it.
It is. It is. I love you being you. Totally admire it.
Ah, thank you.
It's a nice way
Okay,
of
I'll
putting
be
it.
quiet
Goofy.
now.
I like that.
I hope not.
I didn't say batshit crazy.
Frickin' Roxy's batshit, I'm telling you, man.
Oh no, I'm sorry about myself. Sorry, no, not about you.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, yeah, okay. Ooh, okay, I feel better now.
Awesome.
All right,
Exactly.
I'll be quiet now.
Did you see? Did you see how you just like lifted everybody?
Yeah, it's yes, 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 yes. Thank you.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Roxy.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Oh, I love the miracles. Thank you.
yes. So now I'd like to go over questions to ask about Reiki training. So if you feel called to Reiki training, so some of the questions you should ask yourself: should I study Reiki at this time? Do I feel in my heart that I should study with this person or that person? Is this a good learning partner for me? Am I willing to commit to regular practice so that this method, indeed any method, may yield results? And questions you want to ask yourself or ask a prospective Reiki teacher is, what do you cover in your classes? How many hours of class time is there? How much time is there for instruction, and how much time for hands-on practice? Those are all important things. And will this training initiate me into or progress me within the Usui Reiki lineage? Ask them to explain their lineage. Well, if you're taking Reiki from an Usui Tibetan Reiki master teacher, then the lineage is important. If you're taking it from a Holy Fire Reiki master teacher, the lineage is not important. The Holy Fire is the one who's actually teaching the classes. The Holy Fire is the one who's actually igniting you. So there is no lineage. It's coming straight from source. That's the beauty of the Holy Fire. With the attunement process, the Usui Tibetan attunement process, the energies are attuned to you from the Reiki master. So the lineages were important, and the more attunements you got, people said that they felt better and better and better with the more attunements that you get. With the Holy Fire, once you learn how to get ignited, you can ignite yourself as many times as you wish. And the Holy Fire is doing all the work. That's the beauty of it.
Will, can you do a Holy Fire attunement for somebody online, or does it have to be hands-on?
Well, I believe that Reiki, there are people who can receive attunements from Spirit itself. I believe that you can receive Reiki online. I believe you can receive Holy Fire Ignitions online. The energies in a class are so much more important to physically be in the room. You create a bonding with the class. You form relationships in the class. You form practice. You know people, that your circles are expanded in a classroom. You get a commitment. You've actually had to go to the class. You set aside the time. Besides just going into your study or wherever your laptop is and connecting, not saying there's anything wrong with it, but there's so much more that you get from being physically in the room with the other students, with the master teacher, and experiencing the entire class. And that way you don't have to rely on your internet connection, and if it goes down, hey, my internet connection went down during this Hangout. And things happen. I prefer classes in the class format. But that's a question you would want to ask a master teacher who's willing to train you. Is that if you can only do online, well, are they willing to teach you online?
Well, one reason I'm asking, and I do value the same things you do as far as being in a class, but suppose you find someone, or I find someone that I would prefer to be with in that process, especially let's say the Holy Fire more than the other parts of it, and they're far away. So, maybe it's a judgment that I maybe couldn't find someone with the same quality, but let's say I found somebody with a certain quality I wanted to do it with. That's
right.
What I mean. Yeah.
There are many students who travel to take the Reiki classes. There are many students who travel to Stonehenge to take Reiki from William Lee Rand. There are people who travel to Sedona to take Reiki. There are people who travel everywhere in the world to take a Reiki class. Some Reiki master teachers will travel to you or put on a class in your area. Whatever resonates with you, that's the important thing. If you can't travel, or if you want them to come to you, if you really love a certain teacher, you'll find a way to get there, or manifest it with the law of attraction that you want them to come to you. Me personally, if I resonate with you and if you'd love to study under me, I would love to come to you and put on a class. That's me. I want to travel and teach.
Awesome.
So other things you would want to ask is, what should I expect from an attunement, and what are your fees, and why do some charge way more than other masters? So you need to ask them, why are you charging so much, or why are you charging so little? And how long should I wait in between Reiki levels for training? And what's the availability of support from you or other masters when I take this training? And are there support groups in my area? Go ahead.
Yes, I want to ask you about fees and things, because I keep going back and forth with this idea of healing, and that I didn't want money to be a situation where someone couldn't get healed. What do you think about that?
Well, I believe in an energy exchange. And there's some sort of exchange anyway. I believe that some people, if they receive either free healing, some people just can't afford it, and they'll exchange a different way. But in any relationship, if it's all one way, both people have the ability to feel like they're slighted. If one person's receiving and only receiving, do they feel guilty that they're receiving? Or they just don't care? Do they just receive? And if you're the one that's doing all the giving, do you feel like you're being taken advantage of? That's not necessarily Reiki ideals, but those are the human aspects that we run into. With me, there's tuition assistance. There are certain you can pay over time. Is there a different exchange that we can do? Is there a trade that we can do? Is there do you want to pay in food? Do you want to pay in volunteering at a hospital? Do you want to pay it forward? How do you want to work it out? And whether I'm doing a Reiki session or doing a class, all those things apply for me.
Hey, Will, can I add something on that?
Yes, please.
Sarah, I had, the guilt idea. I was guilty because I was charging for my services. That was my own working out. And I wanted to give and give free because some people didn't have the money. And I felt that, what I had to offer would help them. But then I was feeling, and you nailed it, Will, I was feeling slighted because I wasn't getting anything back. And then a friend of mine gave me a quote from Bashar. And it says, the tree of knowledge is there for anyone to pick. But if someone doesn't want to go up and pick their own fruit, whoever you hire is to pick your fruit, there must be an energy exchange. So in your approach to it, Sarah, know that there's going to be an energy exchange. Don't validate one way or the other, whether it's going to be in product, or in services, or in monetary needs. Just know that that person that you're co-creating will have something that will make you feel wonderful. Otherwise, you won't attract that person into your life and they'll find something else. That kind of idea. And when I changed my attitude like that, it was crazy how many more sessions I started. I was in my own way on how many people there would come in and they wanted my services because I was allowing it. Does that make sense, Sarah?
Yes, very much so, because I do sometimes with my healing, I feel slighted because I give it for free all the time.
Right. Well, don't give it away for free. Know that it's going to be that you're going to have those services, and don't be afraid. And if it's not that moment, don't have sympathy or be scared and be judgmental. Oh, you're not doing what you're gifted with. You're allowed to say no because it's your own individual universe, and you will attract those people that will say yes. And that's what shifted in me, and it was beautiful. So don't have a guilt factor. You're not sliding anyone. You're not leaving anyone out. However, there are times when people come into my life that I know in the moment that I meet them that it's going to be a, quote, free one. But that's okay because I have no sliding. It's perfect synchronicity. It feels the slipstream. But it's not everyone, most certainly.
Okay.
All
I
set,
guess I need to
Thank you.
work with myself. Thank you for that. I need to...
You're welcome.
Yes, Will, please continue.
That was perfect. That was perfect.
So it made me think of this lady I watched the other day. I was watching synchronistically a program about levitation, and she was a Reiki healer. This lady who said she could levitate people. And one of her, she lives in Romania, and she is donation only. So she has her own practice, and she heals, and it's all done on whatever they can get. So it's just for an example. But I think she chooses the one she likes the energy of to work with. So her name's on the sidebar.
Sorry, Ray. I had the same experiences with charging for healing work, and when I was doing Reiki in Germany, and I really didn't want to ask my friends for anything and this and that. But I noticed it made them uncomfortable. So, I realized it's also for the other person, because the other person doesn't, even though they say, maybe they might expect it free because they know you. Let's just, if we're talking about people for example, I realized it wasn't good for them, for me to also always offer it for free. And I agree with the energy exchange thing. Now, as far as people I don't know, somebody asked me recently, what I charge for channeling, and I was like, gulp, I don't, and I don't feel comfortable with it. So there I was again faced with the same question about having enough confidence to say in myself, yes, it's okay, I can ask something because it is an exchange of time and energy. But I'm still challenged by it. And I would rather do donation basis. I used to read oracle cards, and I used to do it in Hawaii. And sometimes, I mean, not only there, but I used to go to farmers markets and do oracle card readings in Hawaii. And I would charge $1 a minute. And some people were offended by that, and some people weren't. And but then I did some kind of a mystic fair, and I was just doing it on donation basis. And I would like invest a lot of time in doing this. And then a person would put like $2 in the pot. Okay, I shouldn't feel slighted because it's donation, right? So if I say donation, it's whatever the person felt like giving. So yeah, it's a complicated issue. Well, maybe it's not complicated. Okay, somebody say something. Oh my God! Didn't mean to.
We're just listening, man.
You're
You're fine.
listening. I
I
totally
know.
understand you, Saphira. I
Oh,
totally understand.
Yeah, I just said that because I don't want to bring the energy down with the topic. But yeah.
Well,
No,
even by you saying that, you're actually showing yourself.
bingo. No, get it out. Talk about it.
Uh-huh.
Let's feel that energy and play with it and
Yeah.
see what it is. Because when you let it out and you engage in it, then your love is showing. And that energy is going to expose itself in whatever fear-based idea. No, play it out, man. Get in the game. I love it.
Yeah, and I must say that was a very, very good one of it. That was really, really good. That was a great input.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing, amazing. And part of the silence was because I was waiting for my computer to come back. I was moving my mouse and trying to unmute myself.
Okay. I thought, don't be a doubter, Saphira, but I was just trying to relate, to what everybody was saying. He's like, oh. Okay, thank you.
Totally understand.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll charge $200 for my channeling. Then how's that?
That sounds,
Absolutely.
that sounds cheap. That's far too cheap for your channeling.
Nobody will come. Nobody will come. But anyway.
No, don't say that because now you're enacting the negative side of the law of attraction.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yes.
got a lot of people who want to pay for that. There's a lot of queue. There's a lot of people queuing up to pay $200 for it.
Exactly. I saw them lining up.
All those really rich people.
Yeah.
All those very special people.
That's true. But light workers tend to, not all light workers, but many tend to be poor because there's this kind of withdrawal from the bad world at times.
Yeah, there's a lot of rich people that like this stuff, So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, there's a
There's a
lot
lot of rich people in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But also, Saphira, I think a lot of the light workers tended to be poor in the past, and that was, when I first woke up and I'm hanging around with light workers and awake community, it says, well, we're all, spiritually rich but monetarily poor, and
Yeah.
that was a theme.
Yeah.
And guess what, baby? I'm done with that. You know? So you
Well,
can be the same way. It's not, listen, don't define yourself under the guise of being spiritual, and that encompasses an idea, maybe of wearing a diaper and eating a leaf. Maybe it's being, poor. Don't put a limitation on what it's going to be, because we truly don't know. And as long as we're journeying in our own expression, and money is a part of the game there right now. So get into it and get what you need, because that only is a platform for you to go to the next idea of yourself. Those monetary needs are needed in the idea of 3D world for different ideas. Maybe booking a big conference or a big idea, or having tools and, creating larger classes, and then having people, with you, and materials and supplies and trainers and stuff like that. So don't be afraid of being, having money. That's in no way, shape, or form bad. Okay?
amen. Thank you.
I love your viewpoint, Roxy. Thank you so much.
You're
Well
welcome.
said.
I have a question.
Yes.
Where do you think Reiki's going? How long do you think it'll be Reiki? Or do you think I think it's I think all ideas are transitional. Do you think it's going to shift into something higher, something added in, tone healing? I don't know. I'm throwing stuff out there. It just feels like, is it going to shift into some other modality of higher healing, different levels of that healing? Does that make sense? Am I making sense here?
It does. It makes total sense. And I will answer your question. I'll give you a non-answer this way.
Perfect.
So Reiki is Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
And it's defined loosely, but defined enough that it will fit with any other healing modality that's out there that's also defined. In my advanced Reiki training class, you will learn how to use crystals, how to use color, how to use sounds, how to use anything with your Reiki to heal. Reiki fits with any religion, any religious practice, even non-religious practice. It fits with anything you want. I mean, if you want to use a fuzzy doll, Reiki's going to work with it. Rowie put on a class on how to channel with a teddy bear. Okay? It worked. And it's the same thing with Reiki. If you use sound healing, anything. With the holy fire is not defined. It's limitless. You can use it with anything. It can take the place of sound healing. You can envision that the holy fire is doing the sound healing, and it will do the sound healing. You can envision that it's going to do color and sound and anything that they need. I try to get my ego out of the way of it and say, give the client whatever they need. And that way, if they need sound healing, they're going to get sound healing. If they need something multidimensional that my brain can't think of, well, they're going to get it. So, does that answer your question?
Well,
Absolutely.
I haven't. Okay, so when you said things that are defined, and you said sound healing as well, I find the sound healing that I am discovering with the tonal healing, and there are some people who do the overtones, but they don't know that it's a healing modality, it seems.
Uh-huh.
I find that there's no definition for it just yet.
Exactly.
There's nothing there. It's just whatever comes out, and it's doing what it needs to do.
Exactly.
I don't know. Can they all? Is it like a Reiki is all in one, or is it like you can do either modality you wish?
I know many practitioners, Reiki masters, Reiki master teachers that use many combination of modalities in their sessions. And I respect every modality out there. If you don't want to learn Reiki, if you're not drawn to Reiki, but you're doing something else and it's helping your clients, awesome.
Mhm.
That in itself is making the universe a better place.
Right. Okay. No, because it's funny because I have the tonal stuff, and I've been working with that for about a year. But then the energy is coming out the palms even, and the feet, and now it's kind of like, okay, so I'm imagining these things I'm doing in my mind, and it's going to these different places, but I haven't really used it as a healing modality in just one to the next person, that sort of thing so much.
Right. So I would suggest that you don't think that Reiki is the only way to heal, or that you can only heal with Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
So labels are labels. Labels belong on cans of tuna. Okay? So
That's cute.
if you resonate with what you're doing, that's all that matters. Okay?
Right.
And if you believe you are bringing awesomeness to the universe by doing the tonal, the half-hour toning, then awesome. Do that. If you feel drawn to Reiki as well, do that. If you feel drawn to shamanism, do that. If you feel drawn to channel, do that. How can you? God is everything.
That's right.
Everything that you can think of is a part of God, and everything that you can't think of is a part of God. It's as simple as that. So why limit the aspects of God and how it's expressing through you? You are perfect exactly the way you are, whatever you're doing.
That's perfect. Thank you. That's a wonderful answer.
Beautiful.
So that's all I have. If any of this resonates with you, if you feel drawn to Reiki, if you need my help in finding a Reiki master teacher in your area, I'd be more than happy to help. You can reach me at reikiwithwill@gmail.com. If you want to engage me with coming to you for a class, if you want to find out when I have my classes here in Rochester, please email me. There are many, many, many competent Reiki master teachers out there. As a matter of fact, any Reiki master teacher is an awesome Reiki master teacher. If you resonate with them, then they're perfect for you. That's all that matters. This is how you feel about that teacher, and do you want to learn from that teacher? And you can have 10, 12, 15 different teachers. I know many people who have had over 100 attunements, and they've studied under many teachers, and it's all good. There is no one answer to anything. And I'd be more than happy to help you find a teacher if you're feeling that it resonates with you.
Will,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you. You said that's all you've got to give, but you gave everything. It was awesome for everybody, I'm pretty sure. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. It was wonderful.
You're welcome.
Beautiful.
It was my pleasure. As always, it is my pleasure. And you are divine. You are perfect. There's no need to change. You are exactly where you intended to be in this now, right here and now. No matter what you perceive as your problems or your gifts, you're exactly where you intended to be.
Bless you, Will.
Stay blessed. Stay awesome. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.
Nice to see everybody.
Thank you.